Would you wear all your favorite hats at the same time? Well, we wouldn't either. That is why we suggest you use only what you need. Switch off all electrical appliances and lights in our newsrooms. Remember, use only what you need and save power today. Switch and save. Zesco, powering the nation.
Apple Max. Take it to the max.
Want to just get out of town with your friends and family? Are you having a corporate getaway and have no adequate transport? Then this here is what you need to listen to. A brand new 35-seater Yutong luxury bus is now up for hire at an affordable and negotiable rate. It comes fully equipped with aircon, TV for your relaxation, music soothing your trip, and DVD players to give you variety. Book now by calling 0955 0966 or 977 844 141.
What makes the new Yo-Yo Chipsy so unique? 100% natural ingredients. Nothing artificial. Just a pure experience of freshness. Chipsy potato chips. We know you'll love them.
Hey girl, what's your name? Let me talk to you for just a minute. Where you live and what you like to do?
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
Okay, I'm just trying to get with someone real cause you look so free. So let's chill, have a drink with a guy like me.
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
A quality product from Californian Beverages.
Pure jungle.
Thanks very much for joining us on the main news on Prime Television. To present it, my name is Karlan Muchima. We go straight and look at what's making headlines in our main news. Edgar Lungu appoints Inonge Winner as new vice president. Zuno appeals to Edgar Lungu to reinstate fired Nances. UPND calls for reforms at ECZ before the 2016 general elections. And in international news, sons of Egypt's Mubarak, Hosni Mubarak, leave Cairo prison. Those are the headlines. Join me shortly for the news in detail. The main news in detail. Business in the Central Business District has resumed to normal after a week long of campaigns and elections. Traders in town have expressed the joy that their business operations have now gotten back to normal operations. The traders talked to by Prime TV indicate that they had fear to do their business because of uncertainties which surrounded the elections. They stressed that they are now happy to be back in the streets doing business and their daily work.
Traders in most parts of Lusaka last week thought to turn up and do their businesses as usual because of the elections that were taking place. The traders talked to said they could not turn up last week to do business because even where they make orders from, most shops were closed. But today it is a different sight. Most of the traders are back on the streets and business is back to normal. And most of these traders have expressed happiness at the way business is moving so far.
Manja Patrice taziota manje awina niedika so takamaya pa tichebe free manje lokugulisa tizambo kwisira bebwino manje
so pano pametiriri timakondwera chifukwa chakuti ndaba vanzana tipasako chance kusana wangakhale ba president amene babwera vangatiganizireko not utatwa tipisha fast mtown nda ndiye pametipeleka vana school tilipitako mafizi tibaperekako ku school kudya vana vanshiwa tisungira pamene muno.
Most of the traders in Lusaka have expressed happiness in the manner in which the elections were held, and they have since appealed to the newly elected president, Edgar Lungu, not to chase them out of the streets, as it is the only source of income for them. Gwen Mwila reporting for Prime TV News in Lusaka.
The Zambia Union of Nurses Organization ZUNO has appealed to new President Edgar Lungu to consider unconditionally reinstating the health workers that were dismissed in 2013 instead of just reappointing them. ZUNO President Tom Yungana says there is also need for Mr. Lungu to consider lifting the wage freeze, which has been among the issues that have brought demotivation in the health sector. Mr. Yungana has, however, hailed the election of Mr. Lungu as Zambia's 60th president. He says ZUNO is excited with Mr. Lungu's election and is looking forward to further discussing ways of how his organization and the new government would work together. Speaking in a statement to Prime TV, Mr. Yungana says it is the hope of the organization that the new government shall work at meeting the allocation of 15% of the annual national budget to the health sector. The Grand Coalition demanding for the new constitution has commended the people of Zambia for re-electing the Patriotic Front government, indicating that the party still has unfinished business, and that is to release the constitution. Coalition spokesperson McDonald Chipenzi says as a coalition they are not for the idea of a partial amendment of the constitution, but that the whole document needs to be amended. Mr. Chipenzi adds that the refusal by Mr. Lungu to sign a social contract only shows that he is picking a fight with the Zambian people. He has since advised President Lungu to ensure that the constitution is released. Mr. Chipenzi said this in an interview with the Prime Television.
For winning the elections, which was highly contested, and it's good that the Zambian people gave him a mandate because the Patriotic Front government had still unfinished business, and that unfinished business is the constitution making process. And we hope that before 2016 they will have to finish the constitution making process, and there will be no excuse again to say give us time to finish projects. In this case, we want to get across our concerns that the new president is already showing, that constitution making is not a priority, but is admitting that the by-elections that we have had and those that we have had previously have been expensive to the Zambian people and to the country. And all he's interested in, it's having those contentious, we don't know what he means by contentious issues, to go to Parliament for amendment. As a Grand Coalition, we've made it very clear that we are not for a partial amendment of the Constitution. We are for the holistic amendment of the Constitution.
President Edgar Lungu has appointed Inonge Wina as new vice president, becoming the first female vice president. Others appointed are Amos Chanda, who becomes a State House Special Assistant for Press and Public Relations. Some maintained include Alexander Chikwanda as Minister of Finance, Joseph Kasonde, Minister of Health, and Harry Kalava as Minister of Foreign Affairs. And Dr. Ngosa Simbiakola is new Justice Minister, and Jean Kapata has maintained her portfolio as Tourism and Arts Minister. UPND's MP Dawson Kafuaya is new Northwestern Province Minister. Kaiza Zulu is a Special Assistant for Political Affairs, while Emmanuel Chuluwangama has been appointed as Permanent Secretary at State House. Southern Province Minister Daniel Munkombwe has been sacked and has been replaced by Nathaniel Mubukwanu.
Or shall be made known to me by reason of my office, as may be required in the discharge of my duties as such, or the authority of the President. So help me God.
Mr. Amos Chanda, Special Assistant to the President, Press and Public Relations.
I, Amos Chanda, swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the President of the Republic of Zambia, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of Zambia as by law established. So help me God.
I told you to start with that I never dreamed that I would be in this office. Colleagues in Parliament, colleagues in the party, are the ones who came and said, now, if you want to plant so much ambition in my head, which I don't have, you'll be surprised that in 2016 I may not want to continue. But it will depend on people I'm reading, my colleagues. And I make no bones about it. I make no bones about it. Because I never knew that I would have the privilege of standing in front of you, taking oath and swearing people, because it was far from my imagination. And I have said it time and time and again. I'm not so ambitious as to be a danger to myself. What I'm saying is that if my colleagues feel I should continue, depending on the work that I will do, I will go ahead. But if they say that, I'll stay
Beyond 26.
United Independence Party, UNIP, has congratulated Mr. Lungu for being elected as Zambia's 6th president. UNIP Deputy Secretary General Alfred Banda says the election of Mr. Lungu is a clear testimony of faith and trust the people have in him. He adds that it is the prayer of UNIP that opportunities are shared with all citizens in the country. Reverend Banda said this in a statement released to Prime TV in Lusaka. This is Prime Television's My News. We go for a break. Join me shortly for more news just after this. Stay with us.
Would you wear all your favorite hats at the same time? Well, we wouldn't either. That is why we suggest you use only what you need. Switch off all electrical appliances and lights in our newsrooms. Remember, use only what you need and save power today. Switch and save. Zesco, powering the nation.
What's your name? Let me talk to you for just a minute. Where you live and what you like to do?
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
Okay, I'm just trying to get with someone real, cause you look so free, so let's chill. Have a drink with a guy like me.
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
A quality product from Californian Beverages.
potato sticks, freaky fries. Get that awesome crunch.
Thank you so much for staying with us. United Party for National Development UPND President Hakainde Hichilema has called for serious reforms at the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ. Mr. Hichilema states that electoral reforms are inevitable given the appalling situation at the institution. The UPND president explains that had the ECZ been allowed to operate independently, the outcome in the just-ended presidential by-election could have been different. He has since called for the immediate resignation of some non-ECZ top-ranking officials whom he has accused of aiding the PF to rig the elections. Mr. Hichilema said this at a media briefing in Lusaka Monday morning.
We need to reform the procedures in the Electoral Commission so that at the polling station, when the result is pronounced, we are able to have political party representatives, which is the case. But in this case, some of our polling units were being chased out of the polling stations, even with the assistance of the police. But we will discover later some of these policemen were actually party cadres given police uniforms. In the polling stations.
Meanwhile, Mr. Hichilema has condemned the acts of violence against his supporters and officials. He says despite him calling for peace among his supporters, despite knowing that the election was robbed from him and the PF cadres went ahead destroying his supporters' properties and harming them, Mr. Hichilema says he has communicated to the police command to ensure that such acts of violence against his supporters are stopped henceforth. And Lunte MP Felix Mutati has urged all supporters not to be intimidated by anyone but work towards rebuilding the party for the 2016 general elections. At the same meeting, some UPND cadres who suffered injuries under the hands of the PF and had their properties destroyed were given chance to speak at the same meeting.
After I called for peace and stability, our members were being attacked viciously. Into yesterday, widows at Soweto who are cooking shima to feed their children had their twin timbers broken, smashed, looted. Our members were beaten by non-PF cadres.
That we are political opponents, but we are not political enemies. This country must learn that we can have differences in ideas, let's debate. But let's not substitute that debate for violence, for partners. We are all brothers and sisters from one family.
I know that there are a lot behind.
Presence of God Ministry has called on the country to unite and do away with tribal politics if the country is to develop. Ministry founder Christopher Kunda says it will be better if the newly elected President Edgar Lungu concentrates on eliminating tribal politics. He says if this issue of tribal politics is not attended to, the country risks losing the peace it has enjoyed for the past 50 years. Mr. Kunda says it is alarming that public figures are in the forefront of promoting tribalism in the Christian nation. Musician Dandy Crazy last week insulted people from Southern Province and charged that this country will only be ruled by two tribes, mainly the Bembas and Easterners. Poor People's Party President Alex Mulyokela has called on newly elected President Edgar Lungu to once in a while invite him for lunch at State House. In an interview with Prime TV News, Mr. Mulyokela says he has a right to be recognized as an important figure in the nation following his public support. Mr. Mulyokela says he will now work hard to ensure that he fundraises money in readiness to stand and scoop the 2016 general elections. He says it is important that President Lungu finds time to meet with him, as he will get a lot of ideas from him. Mr. Mliokela says a failure for Mr. Lungu to meet him before the 2016 general elections or his benefits as president will be frozen when he becomes president. Sorry about that. We'll go for another break. Join me for international sports.
Apple Max. Take it to the max.
What makes the new Yo-Yo Chipsy so unique? 100% natural ingredients. Nothing artificial. Just a pure experience of freshness. Chipsy potato chips. We know you'll love them.
Now, international news. The two sons of a deposed Egyptian president, Hosni Mubarak, were released from prison nearly 4 years after they were first arrested along with their father, authorities say. Security officials said the two businessmen, Allah and Mubarak's one-time heir apparent Gamal, walked free from Torah prison in a southern Cairo suburb on Monday and headed to their respective homes in the capital's Heripolis suburb. The two, along with their father, still face a retrial on corruption charges. Separately, the two sons also face a trial on insider trading charges. They had been acquitted of other charges. Mubarak, now 86, stepped down in February 2011 in the face of a popular uprising. He and his two sons were arrested in April last year. The security officials spoke on condition of anonymity, also as they weren't authorized to speak to journalists. Armed men have kidnapped the Central African Republic Minister for Sport and Young People and former rebel chief, according to his wife, prompting condemnation by the government. Sunday's kidnapping of Amel Nigatorom Sayo, while he was returning from a church in the capital Bangui, was the first of a member of the government. Nikais Dehiu Sayo, wife of Sayo, said she and her husband were returning from church on Sunday morning when the kidnappers stopped them. Another source close to the family said that the kidnappers, who were traveling in a taxi, blocked Sayo's car. Sayo is the former leader of the Revolution and Justice Movement based in the country's northeast, but entered the government of Mahamat Kamon after the signing of a peace agreement in July 2014. No group have claimed responsibility for the kidnapping. We now join Al Jazeera for a roundup of international news.
A new Prime Minister and a new era for Greece as the battle of the bailout begins. The sons of Egypt's deposed President Hosni Mubarak are freed from jail. Their legal fight, though, not over yet. Syrian Kurdish forces say that ISIL fighters have almost been driven out of the Syrian border town of Kobani. ISIL have lost most of their supply routes to the south due to recent Kurdish gains. We spoke to a Syrian Kurdish official who's following this from the Turkish side of the border. The sons of Egypt's former president Hosni Mubarak have been freed from prison. Allah and Gamal Mubarak have been released ahead of their retrial on corruption charges, 4 years after the start of the revolution that brought down their father.
And now sports news. Zambia is this evening playing Cape Verde in an encounter seeking to progress to the quarter-finals. The 2012 winners have struggled so far in the tournament with 1 point from 2 games. In the event that Zambia takes 3 points, the team will need Tunisia to avoid defeat against the Democratic Republic of Congo if they are to qualify. Zambia have opened their scoring in each of their Group B fixtures to date, only for DR Congo and Tunisia to fight back. That's the end of the news, and now we look at the headlines once again. Edgar Lungu appoints Inonge Winner as new vice president. Zuno appeals to Edgar Lungu to reinstate fired nurses. UPND calls for reforms at ECZ before the 2016 general elections. And in foreign news, sons of Egypt Mubarak leave Cairo prison. That's the end of the news. My name is Kalan Muchima. Thank you so much for your company. God bless you. But for these and other stories, you can still visit our website on www.ptvzambia.co.zm. Thanks so much for your time. Bye-bye.
Hey girl, what's your name? Let me talk to you for just a minute. Where you live and what you like to do?
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
Okay, I'm just trying to get with someone real cause you look so free. So let's chill, have a drink with a guy like me.
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
A quality product from Californian Beverages.
Potato sticks, freaky fries. Get that awesome crunch.
Would you wear all your favorite hats at the same time? Well, we wouldn't either. That is why we suggest you use only what you need. Switch off all electrical appliances and lights in unused rooms. Remember, use only what you need and save power today. Switch and save. Zesco, powering the nation.